My name is Elise, if you don't know me yet, and today I wanted to talk specifically about body image and how I used to view myself, how I actually feel like I did look, even just 2 years ago to compared to now, since being on this spiritual journey of ascension, and how much it's actually played a huge role in my life. And I used it as a way to feel good about myself. It was almost like I'd thought that if I looked a certain way, and especially coming from the personal training background and working in the gym and studying personal training once I was just finished school, so once I was 18, I went straight into the personal training industry and the fitness industry. And I started to see that I was getting attention because of the way my body was looking and was changing through diet and exercise, and I mean like excessive diet and exercise. It wasn't a healthy thing that I would want to implement in my life now. But what I've been finding is that since I've started taking the focus off of my actual body to make me feel worthy and to feel loved and to, give myself a boost of self-esteem, I've been actually working from the inside out. And with that process, I actually feel as though my body is not in a place of alignment, if that's the word that sort of comes to mind right now. Not in alignment with how good I feel on the inside. I don't feel is representative how it should be to me when I look in the mirror. And I'm basing that off the ideals of society and the way that society, projects the image of beauty and the image of attractiveness and sexual attraction based for women, and the way that I feel women are actually sexualized. And I'm choosing not to play a role in that anymore. And I wanted to just offer this out there because I know of many women and many female, especially teenagers, that I find that we struggle to accept the bodies that we are in. And then when we go to try to change ourselves because we feel that what we're looking like is not acceptable to other people, that makes us unlovable. And that's so not the truth. So I would like to share my story on this, and if anybody wants to reach out, and if not, I just hope that this is a message to inspire you to actually be the best version of yourself from the inside first. And I truly believe that the more that I keep doing the work, that I will come to an even greater place of love and self-acceptance. And I also believe that not only will that reflect on the outside to myself, but I'll learn to love and accept exactly where I am at any given moment. And I feel that this has been a huge work in progress for me recently, and I've come so far from where I was. I truly believe that there's always work for me to do and some things for me to look at. But I'm in such a closer place of self-love and acceptance than I've ever been in my entire life. So when I was young, I was always a tomboy, and I was always into sport, and I feel like I was quite active. So it was never something to particularly worry about. I had fairly good genes, and I didn't stack on weight easily at that point when I was active. And then once I got into high school and I found out about fake tan and diets and hair foils and eyelashes and the diet and exercise sides of things, I started to see that I could actually shape shift my body, and in the mirror and to other people it appeared more attractive, which gave me more attention, which at that point in time, that sort of validation was what I was using for my self-worth and belief in myself of how good or important and valuable I was. And over that period of time, that was when I got into personal training, and I started my own business at the age of 20. And a lot from what I learned in the fitness industry, a lot from what I saw, I feel like I adapted to things very quickly. I took these beliefs on as my own, and I'd started following diets such as the no carbohydrate diet, and that had me feeling very dizzy and lethargic and hard to concentrate very quickly. But at the same time, I'd dropped a whole bunch of weight super fast, and people were giving me compliments and attention, which felt good. It was like, how could this be wrong? People love me. But it was all a facade, really, because what was going on the inside was that I was trying to fill my cup up. I do talk about that a bit, that I was trying to fill my cup up from the wrong sorts of validation. And so over my personal training years, from the age of 19, 20 into now, like I'm actually wrapping up my personal training business now, and this is a huge reason why, and it plays a role in, you know, me stepping into something different and a new role of health and well-being, and actually, you know, following out what I'm now sharing with the world and with you guys, that I believe that health is so much more than just our physical body and the way that we look. So up until now with the personal training industry, I've tried many diets, many different types of training styles, and it came to my awareness recently that I was actually training as a form of self-punishment. So if I had eaten something bad and I'd had chocolate or ice cream, or if I'd missed a gym session the day before, then I would be smashing myself at the gym and trying to work off, you know, what I'd done to myself. And so all of this training that I'd been doing was actually in a form of flagellation and self-hate and criticism and judgment, and it wasn't a form of self-love and nurturing my body, which actually is able and allows me to do things that I love to do, to live a full life, which I'm extremely grateful for now. And so it's always been something for me to work with, in terms of, I get paranoid if I would put on a couple of kilos, if I feel that, you know, there's a niggle of extra skin, or if something is a roll that shouldn't be there, that's not the way that a personal trainer should actually look. So and I guess that has always played a big role for me in terms of shaping who I am and challenging myself to sort of overcome these beliefs. And with my experience of depression and anxiety a year and a half ago now, or 2 years ago really, I couldn't eat and I couldn't sleep, I couldn't really even exercise properly, and I lost a whole bunch of weight, like 6-7 kilos. And it's interesting that at that point in time, lots of people who saw just the outside would come up and say how incredible I looked, and comment on the fact of how lean I was and what was I doing. And the truth was that I was so sick and unwell and unhappy and stressed and depressed and anxious that my body wasn't even reflecting the true version of who I was and of who I was being and my experience. And so it was really confusing for people to come up and say how incredible I looked, and that deep down they didn't know what struggle I was going through. And at that point in time, I was the most self-critical, self-judgmental. I hated myself, I hated my body. I felt like it was never good enough. I couldn't sleep, I was stressed, I was really not loving and accepting myself, and it was hard for me to love and accept the people around me at the same time. But, you know, in the views of other people, my body had never looked better, that I looked incredible. And when I started working through the experience and the trauma and taking responsibility for my stuff, I naturally started eating better, sleeping better, exercising differently though, and I naturally put back on the weight that my body had just dropped during the stress response. And that also became a big challenge for me, because I just lost a whole bunch of weight, and so in my mind I'm like, oh my god, now I've gone backwards. And so this whole idea of the way that you look represents how healthy you are, it's completely shifted my view on that. And now, even just having the extra 5 kilos, it's still challenging at times. It truly is. I mean, there's days where I feel incredible and I'm so grateful for my body, and you know, I see a different reflection in the mirror that I'm really happy with and grateful for. And then there's days where I'm challenged and I look in the mirror and I think, how did I get here? Like, how did I put on an extra 5 or 6 kilos? And it's hard in those moments to remember, but I was so unwell. I was so unwell back then. And now I'm the healthiest, the happiest I've ever been. And I'm taking the leap, leaving my personal training business, and I'm stepping like into my divine purpose, which I believe is so much more than I can offer in a physical training session. I want people to be able to be inspired and supported to flourish in their lives. And I want people to be able to go inside of themselves and find that void, find what they're trying to fill from external sources, whether that be drugs or alcohol or other people or money or sex or gambling. There's so many different ways that we humans automatically try to fill these voids. And I think society has, certain standards. And if society will look at people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol or gambling as very, very different to people who are workaholics or people who are addicted to being in relationships and being in love with other people instead of themselves. And my true belief now and understanding of it is that we're all human beings, and our typical response when we're feeling pain is actually to move away from the pain. And if we're not aware of things, then if we go towards pleasure away from pain, sometimes we're going to things that are actually unhealthy. And it's just like we're putting a band-aid over something, which is a temporary solution, rather than going to clean the wound, heal it, and allow it space to unfold, and for the lessons to be learned, and for us to grow as spiritual beings and human beings. So today I just wanted to share that if, I also like to think of our bodies as cars. So we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience. And our temporary human experience is this body that we're in. This is temporary. When we die, our bodies die. But our spirit, our soul doesn't. It's infinite. We continue lifetimes after lifetimes. And I feel like that's a really incredible way to look at the fact that the body that we're in right now is literally just our vessel. It's our vehicle. Our body is our car for our soul. We're driving around on this playground of earth with lessons to learn, with people to love, with experience to be had, with joy to be felt, with sadness, with pain, because all of these different emotions have so many different strengths. But it's just about us, unlocking those strengths and using them to the best of our ability. So I really truly believe that the more that we can come into alignment with ourselves and start to flourish from the inside, that'll be shown on the outside. And my true belief is this is a challenge for me to learn to love and accept myself fully as I am. And I believe that when it gets to that place that I actually am really loving of myself and more accepting, that my body will reflect that. And those extra 5 kilos that I feel like I'm hanging on to that aren't actually necessary, I believe that that'll let go. Everything is emotion, everything is energy, and so emotion is energy in motion. I believe that this excess 5 kilos that I've put on or that I'm carrying is just these emotions that I'm actually still maybe unaware of holding on to, or finding it hard to know how to let those go. And that's something I'm continuously working on. But in the personal training role that I used to play, it was always body first. And now I'm not putting the body first. I'm putting my soul and my spirit first. And I'm putting my health and well-being first. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And I want to inspire you to do exactly the same thing. And recognize that no matter what we look like, no matter what shape or size we are, no matter what skin color we are, no matter what race, culture, religion, at a soul level, we are all the same. And we're all human. We all experience the human emotions. And I feel the more that we can come into acceptance of that and let these emotions and this energy move through us rather than blocking it and holding onto it, the more that we're going to actually start to shapeshift anyway. Our bodies are going to represent these healthy beings. So I just wanted to share that message today, and again, be authentic in that I'm definitely not in a place of perfection. I don't feel like I ever will be, but I am truly working on it, and I want to learn to completely love and accept myself as best as I possibly can. And in this journey, like for you that are watching, and for you that watch, you know, however long later, and any courses that you come to, or any of the healing events that we're running, I just really hope that this message carries through, that right in this moment, I am important. Right in this moment, I am worthy. It's got nothing to do with the way that I look like. And I want you to take on that message as well, and know that you are loved, and that this world is blessed to have you here, and trust that you're here in this moment right now for a reason. So make it count. You are worthy.